Will now be recorded.
Hello, friends. Good morning and welcome back. And let's start. This is our third session of Azure as well as Azure DevOps along with Terraform automation. And I have seen like a few more people have joined today as well. So I mean, new people. So let's have a one more a small recap on what we discussed on first and the second classes. So the first class is more about explain you about what is the career path you need to choose. So I told that the market is basically expecting you to become a DevOps engineer or site reliability engineer. And the good thing which we need to appreciate it is the AI is not going to impact DevOps and the site reliability. So still it's not evolved that level, and the market is expecting for you to understand like the multi-cloud sorry, multi-cloud. That means they're expecting you to have experience or expertise in two different clouds. So my preference will be Azure and AWS. GCP is a good cloud, but it will take quite a while to compete with Azure and AWS. Now, along with that, we need to use a set of DevSecOps tools and microservices using Kubernetes. Now, you need to plan your path in this way. It doesn't matter where you get trained, how you get trained. So efficiently, you need to train. You're going to start with Azure now, and you're going to go with the DevSecOps later, and then an additional cloud to strengthen your CV, and then microservices, and then Python. I mean, in-depth Python, because I'm going to run Python in DevSecOps also. These are individual courses, but plan your path in this way, so it will be very good for your future. Now, in the first class, we have created. I showed you the steps how to create the, and I told you what are the things we're going to discuss as part of this course. And most importantly, I told you like how to create a free trial, where they give you $200, and we deployed a sample Linux machine so that you can do some practice over the weekend basically. Now yesterday is most of the yesterday class is theoretical. I have explained about what is the physical hierarchy of the cloud and also logical hierarchy, why we need Azure subscriptions, and how it is compared with the AWS account as well as Google project, and the reasons for having a separate subscriptions. When I say subscriptions, right, these are the subscriptions in Azure. Now, once you go through the last two classes, you will have a better understanding. So these are the subscriptions where you create your resources. When I say resources, it can be anything. It can be virtual machines, databases, key vaults, a lot of stuff. So now when compared to AWS, in AWS we call it as AWS account, and Google we call it as Google project. And the reason we have this subscription is you need to have a security isolation and access controls, means that who can access our resources and what kind of access they have, whether they can delete, update, whatever they can do. And also billing purposes, like we should understand like how much different environments are charging you, and compliance and governance. So next will be, today will be the last and final class of our open sessions, I mean the free sessions. So today first let's understand what is a resource group actually first. So, and then we're going to create something called as a cloud shell. Okay, and creating a cloud shell, I say like deploy basic infrastructure using cloud shell, or I say infrastructure like Linux machine in using cloud shell. Okay, I don't think time will be enough to discuss about virtual network. If the time permits, I'm going to explain now what exactly is a resource group. Now I already told you yesterday like the resource group concept was not there during the initial days of Azure. So initial days of Azure, it is called as Windows Azure, but later part they came with a concept of ARM, like Azure Resource Manager. That is why you're going to get something called a resource group. So if you ask me what exactly is a resource group, if we come here, this is your Azure portal. Now on the left side, right, when you go and check it out, you don't see a lot of stuff here. Like you can see a lot of, these are the things which I frequently use. That's why I'm going to get it. These are all my favorites. In your case, you won't be able to see all these things. Sir, how can I make it available? What are the things I'm going to use very frequently? So what I can do is you can come here. come to all services, and then you can search. For example, I'll say like disks actually, right? So you can go to disk and you have something called as a star mark here. Okay, so if you're going to press that, now it is going to get at the end of this. So what you can do, you can actually take it and move it to up if you like it. So you'll get the disks here. So imagine if you don't want that, so you can basically go ahead, select, just place your mouse over that and remove that star mark, and the favorite will be removed. That's it. Okay. So like that, you need to go ahead and you will understand over a period of time. You will understand what are the frequent services you're going to use. Based upon that, you're going to customize your the resources as well as your favorite bar. Okay. Now by default you will have these resource groups actually, right? Come here, resource groups. What exactly is a resource group? Simply put, resource group, I can say like it is more like a folder. So imagine in the real-time environments, in your environment, right, you might have multiple applications. So let's take an example of my company. Okay, so maybe my company have different applications. They are written in Java, they are written in Python basically. So they are different. So imagine I'm going to take three different projects and they have dependency on each other. Okay, so imagine first one will be Alpha, second one will be Bravo, and the third one will be Charlie. Now I have three different projects. Now why should I have three different projects? Now imagine you are running some e-commerce application like maybe Swiggy, for example. Okay, just imagine you're going to write you're running an application called swiggy.com. Now if you don't know at the back end what are the different services Swiggy is running, is Swiggy is running close to 400 microservices, because Swiggy is hosted on Kubernetes, on not on Azure. They are hosted on AWS actually. They're running close to 500, sorry, 400 microservices. When I say microservice, they have their front end, back end, as well as database, everything. So why you require such a lot amount of microservices? Now, so imagine Alpha is a service which is basically using the Google Maps to identify where exactly your asset will be or your rider will be. Okay, so let's take, I'm developing an application called Alpha for geolocation, right? Second, so I'm actually integrating my application to a lot of other vendors, right? Can be payment management and everything. So I'm going to create a separate application for payment management. Now, third one will be, since I'm into e-commerce, there is a lot of supply chain need to be done. Like imagine I need to procure some, imagine I run my own cloud kitchens. I need to procure some utensils, all these things, or maybe some sort of raw material. So I'm going to name that as supply chain. Okay, maybe I'm running SAP, who knows, right? Now these three are three different requirements. This is not one application. These three are different applications and they communicate across each other. So what will happen is the supply chain will communicate with geolocation. Obviously the payment will be done from this service. Okay, now every application has, for example, front end, back end, database. Okay, every application has front end, back end, and database. So the reason I'm actually taking this up is you need to consider this, each one has a different application now, and each application is developed by different team. Okay, I'm going to say like Alpha team. Okay, maybe it is running, maybe just imagine this is running in, for example, Java. I'll take an example. It is running in Java, and this is running in maybe .NET, for example. Okay, maybe this is running in Python. Okay, and alpha team is a Java team, and I have like a Bravo team, and I have a Charlie team. Now, what we want is what are the operation challenges with this? Now, only alpha team should have access to their environment, maybe development, UAT, and everything. Production access only DevOps people or SRE people will have. Not everyone will have access to the production. So, but still, I need to do management. So, I want alpha team should be able to access all kind of access to the alpha. Same with the Bravo team. Same with the Charlie team. So, and I also want to monitor what are the costs associated, how much alpha is costing us, Bravo is costing us, Charlie is costing us, right? So how I can do that? Now that can be basically achieved by dividing the environments. How I can divide the environment from a access point of view? That means only alpha team should have access to alpha resources, Bravo to Bravo, Charlie to Charlie, right? Charlie team to Charlie. So I can use that using the resource groups actually. So what we can do? So we can come to here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a resource group. Now, while creating a resource group, two important things is one is you need to select your subscription depending upon your environment. Since I'm actually doing the development environment, I'm going to choose dev, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to say alpha. You also want to identify the based upon the environment, because what will happen is if I go to resource group, it will come like this. You can actually select based upon your this one as well. But what I want to do here is normally real-time environments, what we do is, so it's very hard for go ahead and select all these things. By seeing the resource group itself, we want to identify which environment it belong to. That's the reason normally what we do is while creating it, we do something like this: alpha dev. Okay, some people will give alpha dev rg. It doesn't make any sense because it is a resource group. Again, you don't need to put a resource group at the end basically, right? So you can just give alpha dev, but some people will put rg as well, means resource group. And you need to choose your location. Now why location is important? Now let me tell you, when you are deploying the some infrastructure, right, you need to follow some guidelines given by government actually. For example, if you have some data, okay, so imagine you are in India, and you are dealing with the data, right? Your data should not be outside of India, right? There are some rules actually which we need to follow. And recently the act came into picture, like DPDP Act, basically Data Protection Act, Digital Data Protection Act. So similarly, this was been applied to all the companies. They need to follow, right? Without consent you should not use the data. It is already came very late. So act passed in 2023, rules notified, and they are implemented phase by phase, full implementation by 2027. So all IT companies or whoever is going to use the personal data, right, they need to follow some set of rules. And there will be significant penalties will be there. Like it will, let me tell you, if you are dealing with insurance domains, if you are working in healthcare as well as financial domains, right, the fines will be very very hefty. Like they'll only discuss in crores, they don't discuss in lakhs, by the way, some even in hundreds of crores. So that's why it is very important to understand where exactly we're creating the stuff. The reason I'm actually taking this up is I have seen initially, if you are not properly trained, right, you just create it wherever you like. Okay, sometimes some people don't even look into which location they are creating. Later what will happen is, so imagine you have a database full of users and everything, but you are creating a database out of India. So that will, or maybe if you are in US, you are creating database out of US basically. So it will cause significant challenges in future. So don't do that. So next, and you can give the tags actually here. So the tags will help you if you want to, in future, if you want to get the like a cost and everything, or if you want to narrow it down. So for example, I'm going to give something like this, batch, for example, batch. I'm going to give batch number 56, and owner, I'm going to say like this. So As part of the compliance, right, we're going to mandate this one. So in companies, there is something called Azure policies. So in Azure policies, you're going to get here. I'm going to teach that. Something called policy. So what we are going to do in this policy is here we can actually configure and enforce the policy saying that if anybody create a resource group or any resources, basically like this, you're going to get it. So resource tag on resource group, inherit tags from resource group, all these things. Okay. So we're going to enforce them. I want everyone to follow this. Maybe we also give project name as well, right? I'm going to give project. I'm going to say like alpha, because one project can contain multiple environments like dev, UAT, pre-production, production, post-production, right? So I want to identify how much the how much a complete project is costing. So for that purpose, I can use something like this, right? So I'm going to go next and then create it. So it's good. So the resource group will be create very, very fast. There is no doubt about them. So the primary building block. See, yesterday I explained you about the logical architecture, right? Let me open that. Yesterday, this is the physical architecture and this is the logical architecture. As part of logical architecture, I explained we have a tenant ID. Okay, give me 1 minute. Tenant ID. Okay, this is basically the tenant ID. Under the tenant ID we have different services. As I said, under we have subscription IDs. As you can see, under the subscription IDs we have the resource groups. Under the resource group we have the resource, and as I told you, like this is what we can have multiple resource groups. Actually, that is what we discussed as a part of the logical architecture, right? So now the resource group is created. Now if you want to create anything, now here there is a confusion actually for many people. I'll go and sort with the development. Actually, this is what maybe I created in production only. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, alpha dev. Okay, now this is the important thing. Many people or many of the students think that since the resource group is part of the East US, they will think that the resources which is going to get created inside the resource group will be automatically part of East US. No. Let's put an example. Let's put an example. If I take example as Hyderabad as a city, right? So I stay in Hyderabad. Now, just because Hyderabad is in Telangana doesn't mean that people living in Hyderabad only belong to Telangana, right? Same with the country. So if you take India, just India is there, but it doesn't really require all the people living inside India as part of Indians. There are people coming from outside and having their living here. Same way, even though resource group is part of East US, it is not mandatory the resources which go inside this resource group should be or must be part of the East US. That is not really required. I'm going to prove it to you later. Okay, so like this you can create resource group, and what you're going to do is in real time you are going to create these resources. It's very, very rare you're going to create tenant ID, definitely not a tenant ID, and it is very, very rare you're going to create a subscription as well. So I mean, even though if you require a subscription level, it is not you who are going to do it. Normally what will happen is there will be always something called as a cloud service provider. There is something called as cloud service provider. We shortly call it as CSP. Because how the Microsoft works is, see, if you are a very small company, what will happen is I can directly pay the bill. Imagine if you take my instance. Actually, I'm not a big company, right? I'm a trainer actually. So what I can do, whatever I'm going to teach you, so it will cost you some bill actually. Okay, it will cost you some bill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay this bill. as you can see, to the directly to the Microsoft. I'm going to pay directly to the Microsoft. Now, what will happen is, imagine you are a very big company, which are like, for example, if you take my company at one point, uh, we have costed somewhere around 80 lakhs per month for the Azure. So what we did was we have went to a channel partner. Normally what Microsoft will do is they have a lot of channel partners, so you can actually go through the channel partner, which we normally call it as cloud service provider. Now there are different levels of cloud service provider: tier 1, tier 2. They changed it actually. Earlier it was silver partner, platinum partner. There are different kinds of partners will be there. Depending upon your partner level, you are capable of giving discount. So for example, so normally the partner which we are tied up with, they are giving me 25% discount actually. That means if I get a 100 rupees bill, I won't be charged for 75 rupees. So they'll give you, like, if you go for more, if you are bigger partner, you have more, I mean, the more bill you have, the more discount you're going to get. Maybe some will give 40%, depends upon that. Right? So that is how it will be. So what will happen, imagine you are actually going to a new project and you require a new subscription. So what I will do is, basically I'm going to send an email to service providers saying that, one, could you please create a new subscription for us. So what they will do is they will create it, and under the tenant you're going to get it here. So it's very, very rare. It's very rare as a person, as an individual, you're going to create subscriptions, right? It's very, very rare. If you get an opportunity, that's fine. But it's very rare. Why I'm actually taking this up is, most of the time you are going to spend it, because let me tell you, if you come to the interview, right, I can actually ask a question: how many subscriptions you have created in your company? So imagine if you have really worked in real time, you're going to say, normally we don't create our subscriptions, we have a channel partner, we normally send an email, they will create it. Mostly I work from a resource group level under the subscription. But imagine if you don't get trained under proper person, or if you don't have a real time experience, you're going to say that, oh, I created 4 or 5 subscriptions. Immediately I can flag it off. That's not possible. It's very, very rare. And I'm trying to give you the how it works in real time. Okay, right. Now, since the resource groups is created, right, I want to put resources inside this one. Now I can create it manually, right? If you in the first class I have showed you, right, how to create. But for example, if I want to create, let me show you. I'm going to go to virtual network. I'm going to explain virtual network most probably on Monday, but I want to show you something. I'm going to click on create virtual network. So resources must go, it's not should, must go inside a resource group. So you need to select your subscription and you need to select your resource group. So I'm going to say, like, for example, VNet1, next, next, next. So normally we need to properly give here the IP ranges. I'll do one thing. I'm going to take 10 dot, next, next. And now important thing is, by default, when you're actually creating, it is showing come down east US, right? As I said, it's not mandatory. Let me show you. I'm going to, where is this, India. I'm going to select Central India. Next, 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 next. So it is doing a final validation basically. And here it is giving download template for automation. So if you go, it is basically giving some, this is basically called as automation way, which is called as ARM template actually, which we don't use. We use Terraform, just giving you a idea. So, and I'm going to create it. Now, what you need to observe here is, I have created a resource group called alpha underscore dev, and I have created a resource inside the resource group in Central India. What exactly that proves? So it proves the one which I told you, right? Even though resource group is part of one region, it's not mandatory the resources inside should be part of the same region. So even though alpha dev is showing is created in East US, it's not mandatory resources should be same. It is something like Central India. Just keep that in mind. And the important thing is, now what I can do is, I can come here. I'm going to explain about in detail about IAM, Identity and Access Management. IAM stands for. So what I can do here, I'm going to click on Add Role Assignment. From here, I'm going to give access to a lot of like whoever is like alpha team will be there, right? These are different axes. What I want to do is I want to give them some contributor role. That means it has some administrator level access. So I'm going to explain this in when I discuss about Active Directory. I mean Azure Enter ID. Yeah. If I go next and select members, so if I select members, so you'll get all the users here. For example, I'm going to say I think Anand should be there. Yeah, Anand will be there. I'm going to select previous batch B55 address, select it, review and assign. So that is how you're going to assign it. So what will happen is now only Anand will get access to alpha only. He can't really see anything else. So he can actually start machines, stop machines, do whatever he want to do only on alpha dev. That is what I was saying. Like so the control actually. So that means if I create 3 resource groups, right? I can give okay the all alpha related resources. Alpha project goes to alpha team and likewise Bravo team and Charlie team. So you can control it who need to access what. But being a DevOps people or SRE people, you will be the admins actually. If you are admins, right, you don't have these restrictions because you are the one who's going to manage the whole environment. See, I'm the DevOps and SRE in my company. If I don't get access, who's going to manage everything? So most probably you will have like admin level access, which you can do that. Yes, IAM is same across any cloud. It can be AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, doesn't matter. It is same, but obviously, I can say like when compared to Azure, it is actually called as Microsoft Entra ID. So it is very advanced and mature. And I don't say mature, advanced actually when compared to AWS. If I take an comparison of Microsoft Entra ID with AWS IAM and Google IAM, right? So the amount of features you get in Microsoft Entra ID, imagine there is a separate certification for Microsoft Entra ID, which normally we say that AZ500 actually, which is like a security engineer associate, which deal with a lot of Entra ID. That kind of that kind of thing is which we're going to talk about later. So this is what basically a high level overview about resource group. And as a engineers, DevOps engineers, SRE or cloud engineers, you're going to deal a lot with resource groups only. And important thing is, so it's always better. Imagine if your alpha dev is very critical. Like if something happens to that, there might be a business loss, everything. So Microsoft gives you, Azure gives you something called logs actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a log. So log is available in across all resources. So do not delete. Do not delete. And I'm say like add log for delete and click on OK. Let me tell you, I have seen a lot of times people, there will be identical names. There will be alpha dev, alpha 1 underscore dev, alpha 3 underscore dev. So instead of deleting one resource group, they have deleted a resource group. Now the problem with deleting a resource group is, imagine if you have 100 resources inside that one, like databases and everything, and if you delete it, right, so you will get a lock. Actually it's going not going to allow you. So you need to talk to your senior. If the senior only deletes, we can't do anything. But normally, if imagine if somebody tries to delete that, so at least they will get a lock actually. So locks will really helpful. I mean, imagine if you have L1 team, they have some privileges. They are capable of deleting. Better I will assign these locks to my production environment so that they don't mess with that. Maybe at least for databases kind of things actually. Okay. Right, let me come here. So if you delete a resource group, what is going to happen is it's going to delete everything. That means whatever the resources inside the resource group, it is going to get deleted. And imagine, imagine if something is there inside, like it's a production environment where you have databases, routers, gateways, front-end servers, back-end servers, everything. That means your application will go down. So we should be little careful. Okay. Now, let me tell you, in real-time environments, you are not going to come here, right? You're not going to come to this portal and deploy anything. So normally, who is going to use portal to deploy is if you have like maybe deploy one server, one network and everything, right? You might come. Imagine an application, what exactly a application contains, what are the different resources application contains. Okay, so obviously let me list it. You say you get resource group. I'll say like virtual network. You need to create subnets. You need to create network security groups, virtual machines, disks, IP addresses. Okay, so apart from that, databases. Imagine if you have APIMs. Okay, you need to configure APIs in that one. You need to have like gateways. You have like a load balancers. Okay, apart from that, you need to require storage accounts. Inside the storage account you required blobs like that. If you are deploying an application, you need to deploy a lots and lots of services. Now imagine if you are planning to do that manually. First time it will be easy. I mean, first time it will be enjoyable because you are learning everything, but frequently deploying same kinds of environments is not an easy task, right? So what are the different challenges if you do this manually? First challenge is slowness. If you're doing manually, first I'll create a resource group, after that vnet, after that subnet, right? If you're planned, it is very very slow. You're going to take a lot of time. And apart from that, you're going to say that okay, I'm going to spend extra time and do that, maybe. But the problem is there is a good amount of chance error prone. Okay, so that means there is a good amount of chance you miss something. Maybe instead of selecting a different vnet, you have selected a different vnet, like that. Okay, so and then the other part is how can I reuse it? Because if you're doing manually, every time you need to repeat that. Imagine every day I need to create 5 of these environments and delete. Morning 9 o'clock, between 9 to 10, I need to create 5 environments with this configuration. By evening 5 to 6, I need to delete that. So are you going to manually create 8 to 9 all these things manually, delete everything evening 5 to 6 every day? So they definitely, either it's going to slow, you're going to create errors. And that means if there are errors, your application is, they will complain that application or infrastructure is not stable. So and you need to reuse it. You can't reuse it because you're doing everything manual. That is why, let me tell you, in the real-time environments, you are not encouraged to do anything manual. You're not supposed to do that. You need to do in an automated way, that too using something called as infrastructure as a code, IAC. We use that. Normally we use Terraform, okay, to do this. But normally for your practice, there is a way to do that. So what you can do is you can use CLI as well. You can use Azure PowerShell CLI or AZ CLI. There are two CLIs. This is using PowerShell. This is mostly using the Bash, Linux Bash actually. So what we are going to do is I'm going to show you how actually I can create whatever the resource group, whatever the network I have created now, right? Can I do that with a CLI? For that purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the third one, which we need to discuss here today, which we call it as creating a, here it is, creating a Cloud Shell account. Okay. Now what I can go here and simply I'm going to run something called as shell.azure.com. When you run shell.azure.com, what it is going to do is it is going to give me a command prompt. You are not going to get it by the way. When you first time access that, there is going to be some options which you need to select. I'm going to tell you. So now in this Cloud Shell, there are basically two types. One is PowerShell. You see at the top, there is something called as switch to PowerShell. So this is basically AZ CLI. I said AZ hyphen hyphen version, right? It is going to give you 2.79. This is for most like a Linux bash actually. Now, if I want to go to PowerShell, you can select this, or instead of that, I'll say PWSH, which is PowerShell. So what will happen? It is going to convert into PowerShell. Now, which one we're supposed to use? We can use both actually, but I'm going to use AZCLI because AZCLI is far better when creating than PowerShell. For example, that means you should have familiarity with the PowerShell, something like PS, so version table. So I need to say get hyphen. So you need to give get hyphen VM and something like this. So instead of that, I'll go to bash actually. So in the bash, we're going to use this. So for example, I'm going to say AZ group list. If I said group list, see, it is actually showing all the resource group. It should show your resource group as well. If I go up, right, where is it? If I deleted it, right? Sorry. So we're going to create it from here. Now I'm going to help you to create a Cloud Shell. Does anyone log in into the account? I mean, are you inside your Azure account so that I can make you to share the screen and we will create a new Cloud Shell, because there are some one or two options which we need to select. That's why. Did anybody is inside the uh, Cloud Shell? Could you please, I mean, not Cloud Shell, I mean Azure account. Could you please log in? Who is available to share the screen so that I can show it to you, because mine is already configured. Anyone? Folks, did anyone able to log into the account? You want to ask specific people, I can ask the names. Else you can let me know who can share the screen. Just put in chat. So I assume that everyone has a Azure account then. I mean, the Cloud Shell account. Okay. Who has the account? Rahul, you have the account. It's better. I don't want to waste my time. So Rahul, could you please log into your account? Do you have a Cloud Shell configured? Okay, Neil is there. Okay, let me make Neil actually. Make presenter. Okay, please share the screen. Okay, so this is basically your Azure account. Okay, fine. What you're going to do is open a new tab and type shell.azure.com. Shell.azure.com. Hit enter. Now, when you first go to the Cloud Shell, right, it is going to give you the option. It's not going to directly give you the command line, okay, unless you configure previously. I think you have used earlier as well, because normally when you log into this one, right, it is going to give you the first time. No, okay. Let me do one thing. I have an idea. You already configured it. Okay, let me share my screen back, and this is what I'm going to do. Let me go to portal.azure.com. I will log in as a user actually, right? So on that azure.xyz. So the multi-factor is asking. Give me 1 minute. Hold on, folks. Now I'm going to come here. See that it is not showing any subscriptions. I think initially you're going to get all these things by default. So I think I need to give access. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to come here. I'm going to say like shell.azure.com, for example. When you go for the first time, it is going to give you this option, Azure Cloud Shell or like Bash or PowerShell. You're going to use Bash. Okay, you need to have a subscription. Looks like I have given access, but I need to give access to this user. Let me do one thing. I didn't give an at a subscription level. So what I can do, I can come to here. Normally you will have access because you are the administrator, right? Let me do one thing. I can come here. I'll come here, and this is how you can basically give. I'm going to add a role assignment. I'm going to give a reader role. Let me give Anand. This is the old batch user actually, and review and assign. Okay, let me go and check it out. If I go to see, I am not able to see subscription. So what I can do, um, I can basically go subscriptions, and I'm going to put a this one. So now I should get under subscriptions. I can move up and select this. So wait for it. It should give you, it will take little time, but eventually you're going to get it actually. It is going to see, I got it. So now I'm getting this one. Now I'm going to go here and I'll say shell.azure.com. So you need to select bash shell. It is giving no storage account or mount. Let's use the no storage account only. If you create storage account, then again you can select this subscription. So click on apply. If you select, that means what will happen is if you have some scripts, you can keep it here, but not really required. So just no storage account, click on apply. That's it. So you're going to get a new something like this. So from here you can actually do that. You can execute your commands and everything. Now, what is the reason I'm actually showing you the Cloud Shell? Now, what will happen? Initial phases, right? You will be very happy to go ahead and creating this environment from here using the portal. You can do that, but over a period of time, it will really eat up your time, because imagine if you are spending 10 to 15 minutes in manually creating your infrastructure. So you will get a limited time of practice, right? 1 hour, 2 hours. You need to go to office or you need to have, attend some other work. So you don't want to waste 15 to 20 minutes of manually creating the infrastructure. So you can automate that by using the scripts actually. So for that purpose only, we're going to use it. And real time, where exactly I'm going to use. Okay, so if I want to make some changes or okay, let me tell you like there are some ad hoc requests, some on the Kubernetes level, I need to make some changes, all these things. I use the Cloud Shell. So real time, you use the Cloud Shell, but not for infrastructure creation. But from a lab perspective, you want to save a lot of time from the labs, what we are discussing. For that, we use this one. So imagine if I want to create same resource group from here, what I can do is Azure gives you a very good documentation. So AZ CLI create resource group. Okay. So what we can do here is you can come here. See, AZ group is there. So where you going to get AZ group create. So as you can see, you have multiple options available, right? As you can see, I have like AZ group create. I'm going to say location will be maybe East US hyphen hyphen name. I'm going to give like a demo RG1. You don't really need to give the tags actually. If you want, you can give it. Okay. So like this, imagine if I want to create 3 resource groups, West US, Central India. I'm going to give 2. I'm going to give 3, for example, right? So let's see if we can create it or not. I'm going to copy. You can right click and paste or shift insert also, it will paste. So let's see if it works or not. Okay. Now this is what you're going to get. So you're going to get errors actually. It is saying that one. See, this is what authorization field, because I gave only read only access. I'm going to do it from here. I have access from here. I'm going to give insert and hit enter. I'm admin here, right? So I logged into it as admin. So you see, it is getting created demo RG1, demo RG2, and I should get demo RG3, right? 1, 2, 3. And whereas it's, you can go and check it out here. So that is how you can use the Cloud Shell basically to create your infrastructure. So here I'm going to say like demo RG, which I'm going to get these things, right? As you can see, East US, West US, and Central India. And apart from that, I can also create an infrastructure inside by using scripts actually. I don't call it as a script, they are just basic commands. Let me show you how they looks like to get you an understanding. Let me go to, I'll go to the previous batch scripts, and I'm going to take a one script. I'm going to explain this in the next classes. Now this is basically called as Visual Studio Code. This is your best friend. Let me tell you, if you are planning to become a DevOps engineer as well as SRE engineer or cloud engineer, right? You're going to work this heavily, a lot, I can say, because all the coding, it can be scripting, it can be Python automation, it can be Terraform code, it can be maybe Ansible playbooks or Jenkins pipelines, Azure DevOps pipelines, GitHub actions. It doesn't matter, everything will be edit the code from here. Now if I come here, so this is basically a simple code actually, which is going to create, I can say resource group name is, I'm going to say AZB56 app. Okay, AZB56 app. So now this name is used a lot of times actually, right? Let me show you where exactly I'm going to use. I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So as you can see, if you press Ctrl D, it will select actually. So I'm actually 17 times I'm using. Imagine tomorrow you don't want to use AZB56, maybe you want to use the superstar or megastar, for example. Okay, in that case I need to change all these things. That's why I have, this is basically called as a declaring a variable. RG is equal to AZB56 AP. So what will happen if I come back here? RG is equal to AZB56 AP. If I say echo RG, you're going to get that name. So what I'm going to do, we're going to use this across this list, right? So if I copy this, see what are the, there are different steps here. AZ group create location East US hyphen N dollar $RG. So it is going to take this name. So it is going to create a resource group. AZ virtual network create so and so, like this basically. So that means it is going to use, okay, AZB56 app underscore vnet1. So what I'm going to do is, don't worry about this. Monday I'm going to explain about VNet and everything. I want to show you how Cloud Shell can help you. So I'm going to copy everything. I don't want to deploy Windows. I'll do one thing. Let me comment out this. I just want a Linux machine. That's all. Okay. So I'm going to the two B1S is fine. Small machine is fine. I can basically copy everything. You can right click, copy, and you can right click and paste actually you have, or shift insert also will work. So what it is going to do, creating a resource group. Okay, so creating a virtual network. So what I'm doing, let me tell you, people say, sir, what is the scripting? This is not scripting, friends. This is not at all scripting. These are basically set of 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. This is not even a command. This is basically a variable, just like rg is equal to this image. So I can say 1 2 3 4 5. These are 5 commands. I'm executing 5 commands to create a resource group, virtual network and subnet, network security group, rule, and a Linux machine. That's all. Don't even consider this as a script. This is set of 5 commands I'm executing so that I want a Linux machine. So why you want to do that? Because imagine if I need to do that manually, it will take at least 5 minutes. In this case, I will get machine in very faster. I can actually execute the script, go grab a coffee, so I get my machine up and running. So that's why. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to habituate the code actually from the starting itself. From, I can say, from Monday I'm going to explain what is VNet and show how to create VNet using CLI. So from there you're going to learn slowly. Once you go to the Terraform, right, you will really don't feel like so difficult actually, because you are using a script for almost many days, because you will get the Terraform almost after 20 classes. So you'll feel comfortable in that. Okay, so it is getting created. Once the machine is created, it should give me the public IP. So yeah, it is done. So it should give me the public IP. So control C. See, I'll get a private IP and public IP. I'm going to explain in Monday why we have two things, because IP addressing is planned on Monday. I'm going to use, copy that, and I'm going to open a putty session, admin Shri, because I gave the username as admin Shri and password. Where exactly I gave? See this here. See, admin hyphen admin username hyphen admin password. So this is the admin password which I gave. So I'm going to copy and give it. I got it. That's all. See that? Now, if I go back here, if I go to resource groups and refresh, right? Because I gave a read-only access for Anand actually, right? So let's see. See, he's got a all read-only access. The same thing AZB56. You can go inside and you can see all the resources. So these are the resources which are created as of now. But I think if you try to delete this, right? So if you see, if you come here, delete resource group, okay, delete it. Now the problem with this one, he can't delete it. Why? Because I gave only read-only access, not complete access actually, right? So this way we can give access to other people and only limited access. You can go ahead and watch it what exactly is happening, because imagine if you want to have the virtual machines, for example, you can go check the virtual machines. It will give you virtual machines, what is the public IP, you can look it, but you can't delete it because we restricted the access. So you're going to do all the this you in your real time, and you're going to learn all these things as part of this course. Okay, so this is about this one. Once it is done, so you can delete it, but the problem is you can't delete multiple resource groups at the same time. One way to delete it, imagine I want to delete all the three is AZ group, or I'll do one thing for RG in. I'm going to say like, for example, demo RG1, demo RG2, or let me do one thing for RG in 1 2 3, do I'm going to say like AZ group delete. Let me see the name. I think there should be the command, right? Here it should be somewhere. So AZ group delete actually, right? You need to hyphen yes. So hyphen name. I'm going to come hyphen name demo rg. Now check it out. I'm going to give dollar rg. Okay, dollar rg. What will happen? First time it will take number 1, 2, and 3. I'll say hyphen yes. If I give done, right? So what will happen? We should basically delete all the resource groups. See, I can do something like AZ group delete hyphen name demo rg1 hyphen s demo rg2 hyphen s demo rg3. Technically, we can do that. There is no problem in that. Now we need to find a way. Sorry, we need to find a way to do in a more efficient manner. So that's why we can create individual commands, or we can use some. This is basically a logic actually. So here there is no logic here, right? It's just a plain commands we're going to execute. So, but here you're actually using a logic. It is done, right? If I go and check it out, they should be deleted actually. See, they're gone. That is what we're going to do that. It should be deleted. See, they're gone. So this is how we're going to create a cloud shell, and we do that. Again, we'll go in depth from next week. I just want to give you an overview because I'm going to give the video access for the people who paid the fee, right? So they already give most of the people so that they can practice on Saturday and Sunday, 2 days, right? That's why. Good. So let me for the last time today, let me explain the fee details and open the front for discussion. So for the last time for this batch, these are the fees details, folks. So this will be like 15,000 for single payment, or 2 installments will be 10,000, 10,000 this week, this month, and next month. These are the details. I'm going to put that in chat. So you can copy that and keep it aside, and you can discuss about that. Now I'm going to open. So so I'm going to unmute it so that you can go ahead and ask the question. We'll try to answer my best. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, so you can unmute and go ahead with the questions. Questions for
Harsha, quick question.
yeah.
So for this, for the cloud shell, is it limited to one subscription? Like each subscription will have one cloud shell
No,
to.
that's not the way. What you can do here is, imagine if I have a different subscription here. By default, it is going into my production because I use that a lot. So what we can do is, I can go here. I said at AZ, I think set account. I think set account. So hyphen subscription. You can give something like this. So you can set the subscription. I think it was AZ account set or something, but you can set it out and do the activity. It will work.
Okay, actually, sorry, when you were calling out, I don't know, I didn't have access to chat or share. But right now, I just tried to create. It's asking me if you want to mount any storage account, and underneath it's saying me what
No,
subscription
select
do you
the
want
first
to.
one. Select the first one.
So,
Let's say no
okay,
storage
no
account
storage
needed.
account.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
So this
okay,
is how you can put it out, right? Set account, set subscription, and you can put that.
okay, okay. Yeah, thanks, Harsha.
Questions, folks? Doubts? One thing I want to say. So, do you know what is the difference between commodity and non-commodity? The best example is milk and gold. Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying is if you say milk, right, you can go to any store and you can buy a milk. You can go to a normal shop and ask, okay, give me Amul milk or whatever, Nandini milk, whatever you can Sangam milk, we can buy that. But you don't go to any company and buy gold, any shop and gold. There is a specific shops you go buy and gold. The reason I'm saying this, so we are in a habit of seeing trainings as a commodity, like whatever you're getting trained, right, it can be anything, it not only this, maybe security training, AWS training, also it doesn't matter. Don't look trainings as commodity. Okay, it's not like it is available everywhere, like everybody teaches in the same way. There are a lot of people thinks that more from a cost perspective rather than from a quality perspective, basically. Okay, so when you think from quantity perspective, that comes under commodity. These trainings are not commodity. Okay, because you need to put a lot of effort of 2 months of effort and your good amount of money to deal with that. This is non commodity, which is valuable. So you need to put a lot of effort. So keep keep the schedule clear, try to attend every class, and then try to practice as much as possible. Yes, go ahead, guys.
Hi, Arsha, good morning.
Yeah, Ranga.
So, yeah, yesterday we discussed about the subscriptions, right, where we do security or building isolation.
Yes.
So it's not only yeah, today you mentioned about it can be go down into the resource group level.
Yes.
So what if we have a common resources among this alpha or bravo? Can we create a common on top of it if you want a individual contribution of the each team? Can
Yes.
that be tracked?
Yes, what will happen is, I told more from a real-time perspective. Sometimes what will happen is, even though even though I have three different projects, right? But I can create a single virtual network and use it in Bravo and Charlie as well. In that case, what I can do is I can go, for example, if I go to virtual network and I can assign permissions at a virtual network permission as well, who can access here. So you can drill down to resource group, sorry, resource level as well. You have that feasibility. You have that. Yeah, go here and give that, whichever is required. Clear?
Is it only permission? Is that billing can also track?
Billing cannot be tracked based upon the user. The reason is, if you
Oh,
want to do that, what will happen? Again, imagine if you have 100 users, I need to give like 100 users tags, right? User one, user two, user three. It's not a practical way. And they're not interested to do that. See, because
okay.
normally, if I normally give accountability based upon a team rather than a person, right? Okay, DevOps team, your accountability is this, so your billing is this. So we don't really go in person, because at a personal level we know that what used what. I can pull out the logs. Imagine I have 10 machines, who created these 8 machines, I can pull out the logs, I can see that. So I don't really, I really don't, we know that easily who used that. That's why billing don't go at a user level, it will be mostly at a team level or a subscription level.
Yeah, I'm not asking about user level. So what I understand is if something is common among the groups and
Mhm.
each team is very particular about the billing, we can create another service for them.
Technically, you can do the, you see, if I have a
Okay.
database, imagine if I have a database used by all the three teams, then obviously cost will be shared across all teams, right? Then in that case, I'm going to say give as a tag as shared is equal to yes.
Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Questions, folks?
Harsha, you have created
Hmm.
a user for Krishna or something, right?
Hmm.
Then, but you gave only read-only access. Then after that, you try to log in that particular IP. So you try to log in from you with your user or with the newly created read-only user.
No, no, no. That user is the local user of that machine. Here it is, right? I mean, sorry, here that is a local user. That's not Anand user. That's not integrated with Active Directory or something. That's a local user. This one I logged in with Linux. So not Anand. Anand is a login into the portal. See, portal login is different.
Oh,
That
okay,
means
got
Azure
you.
login is different. This is server level login. That's different.
Oh, okay. Server level login, you log in with you local, and
Local user, yeah.
portal, you are trying to delete, but it is not deleting because of it is just read only.
Yes, yeah. We can also integrate that in even server login also, but I'll explain that later, not now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, got it.
Questions, folks?
I have one more question.
Yeah, Ranga.
Vessel, I'm a full stack developer. Uh, uh, I mean, newly I'm just trying to change my career path to DevOps engineer.
Hmm.
Uh, so, so what exactly prerequisite to attend this the upcoming sessions? Because I don't have much knowledge on Linux or maybe zero on networking and everything.
So there is no prerequisite. Even see, the only thing I have is if you know a little bit of basic Linux, that's more than enough because I'm going to cover from scratch. As you can see, like I have created the subscription, I have created the resource group. I'm running from scratch actually. Now you can actually do some, and we can do some basic Linux stuff like and I showed you how to create the Linux machine, right? Run some basic commands, and that's enough. I think so. That's more than enough. Networking is not a dependency. So if you because anyway I'm going to explain about IP addressing on Monday. You will get an idea. Over that one you can study something like what exactly different kinds of subnets and all. But that is also not required because on Monday I'm going to cover IP addressing and subnetting. So if you study a little bit more about that, that's enough.
Thank you.
Questions, folks? Sunday evening, I'm going to send most probably the new meeting ID and a specific group, WhatsApp group for this group, so that we'll communicate on there. And Monday also we're going to start by 5:30, and then I'm going to from after that one I'm going to move it to 5:15. Later part 5. This is a very big course and very in-depth course, so it requires a lot of time as well as a magnificent effort from your side. So if you properly study, practice, right, it will definitely change your the course, the career course actually. I mean, go into a different direction. Anything else?
Oh, you
What you're
mean
going to cover in
running?
Terraform?
We're going to run Terraform almost like workspaces and modules level.
Like how many classes will be allocated for
I'm
Terraform?
expecting, rather than saying classes, I can say hours basis, close to 8 to 9 hours.
8 to 9. Okay, thank you.
Questions?
So, are we going to cover the GitHub and access everything? I mean, the code
I
pulling
mean,
from Git.
GitHub it's not completely on GitHub. The reason I include GitHub is because I'm going to use the code for Terraform. I'm going to push the code to GitHub. So, and then once it is pushed, I'm going to create the GitHub actions. So for that purpose, I'm going to use Git and GitHub, but it is not a GitHub class.
Okay.
Companies don't switch to Azure. Companies will switch to either AWS or Azure or GCP depending upon their applications or the cost benefits. But what I have observed is major market is occupied by AWS and Azure and later other clouds. So if I take example of 10 jobs, you can take like 4 jobs by Azure, 4 jobs by AWS, remaining 2 jobs. So that is why I was actually recommending to you need to get familiar with the two clouds. So we don't really care about what companies are doing or using, right? We need to have our CV should be shortlisted for more companies. The only way to do that is having extensive skill set to do that. If I know only one cloud, that means only Azure. So it's very hard because only people with or companies using Azure will shortlist that. What about the other 60 or 70% of companies? That's why I want my students to get familiar with both the clouds. That's why I said I gave you a path Azure, after that DevOps and AWS. Questions?
Are we using only Azure DevOps or any Jenkins kind of thing?
No, Jenkins has nothing to do with Azure. We only use Azure DevOps and
Oh, yeah.
GitHub Actions.
Okay. And according to you, what is the difference between reliability engineer and cloud engineer? What is there any difference in duties and responsibilities, do you think, or
I
do they
think you're
meet it?
supposed to ask a DevOps engineer versus site reliability engineer, because cloud engineer is gone. Those days are gone where you manage only cloud. Those nobody is expecting that. It will be between DevOps engineer and site reliability engineer.
Okay.
Now, here the major difference is DevOps engineer no need to worry about the operations, day-to-day operations. You don't need to worry about that. So what will happen is, imagine if you are working for a company, maybe a service delivery company, you will be also allocated to a different project. So you go work on the project, do all the things like automate things using pipelines and everything, deliver the project, and you move on to the different project. So this project will be given handover to some operations team who is going to run that. So those operation people can be SREs actually. Now, what is the fundamental difference? DevOps people will work on different projects. They don't need to worry about SLOs, SLIs, like service delivery thing. They don't need to work about that. Whereas SREs, so they are also responsible. One handover is done. Tomorrow, I need to add a new virtual machine. So the code need to be updated by SRE, the Terraform code, and also application availability also is responsible for SRE. Now, what is happening in the companies is that line is basically getting off. That means they're actually not seeing much because skill set is same. So they are actually trying to merge both, saying that okay, if I say DevOps, you also need to take care of operations as well. So that's why they simply call it as SRE, still expecting to do the DevOps job. That is what going on.
Okay.
I'm not taking any SRE batch because that SRE batch was meant for only for interviews, like how to handle the interviews for DevOps and SRE engineer. But now I'm not taking that because of the time constraints.
Got it.
Anything else, folks?
Also, once we complete this complete course, are we able to clear the, you mentioned about certain certifications below,
So
especially AG 304 and 400?
this requires effort actually. But yes, if you put 100% effort, practice every class I'm going to tell you, you will definitely create 104. There is no doubt about that one. Even 305 as well, because 304 is retired, I think so. So AZ 400 requires little more hard work. So you need to more effort than this one. But technically, yes, there are people, my students, who cleared that one as well. So these three, I don't want this actually. Maybe the number looks little bigger, but this is basically fundamentals. So you
I mean,
don't
Harsha,
need
is
much.
that 900 required for to clear 104, or we can directly go to
No,
104?
you can directly go to 104.
Harsha, AZ400 is only based on Azure DevOps pipeline
Yes, yeah,
exam or
only Azure DevOps. It's
okay.
dedicated actually.
Okay. Why there is no exam in AWS similar to Azure? Is there any reason having only Azure DevOps pipeline exam?
Yeah, that's what this AZ 400, right? Dedicated to Azure DevOps.
Yeah. What I'm asking is why in AWS it's not there like that.
Yeah,
AWS also we have
how do I
code
know?
pipe. No, no code
There is
pipeline.
actually. There is. It's called Azure DevOps. Sorry, AWS DevOps Engineer. There is a course called professional, so not course, exam called as, there are three professional exams. One is uh, two actually, I think so. AWS Architect Professional and also DevOps Engineer. So if you take the DevOps Engineer, that will cover AWS code pipeline, all these things. There is no dedicated exam. You can't compare
Okay.
AWS developer tools with Azure DevOps. For Azure DevOps is far, far beyond that.
Okay. So why I'm asking is because we have other CI/CD tools like Argo CD, GitHub Actions, and there is no exam for that, and only for Azure DevOps we have exam. Yeah, that's why I.
Hmm. There is exam for Jenkins, and there is, I think, GitHub Actions also there is there. I think so. It is there. It's not required. Okay. Anything else, folks? Before I wrap it up.
Sri, from Monday onwards, we are planning 5:15.
I mostly, but I'll communicate you over the chat on the Google. I'm going to create a WhatsApp group. Most probably we'll start by 5:30, and everyone joins it. Then we'll move on from Tuesday to 5:15. Most probably.
Oh, you are planning because it may be too early for us. That's why I'm just requesting if it's possible.
Can't can't do,
5:30.
man. Let me tell you, because if I take this way only, then only I can complete in 2 months.
Okay.
There is no way I can complete this course in 2 months if I take by 5:30 and if I don't teach on weekends. Such a big course.
Okay.
Harsha, we didn't receive any notification on new Kubernetes. You said you will be sitting yesterday.
No, I already sent. Have you checked the YouTube and website? I already posted the video yesterday.
No, in WhatsApp groups we didn't receive. That's why.
I normally send it out one day before. It's in
Okay.
17th.
Can we do parallelly morning Azure batch and the evening Kubernetes? Will it be manageable by us?
Definitely, if you want to give fees to me, you can do that. But do you have time? Okay, think about from that perspective. So what you do is think about whether you're able to practice first of all this one. My suggestion is don't do that. Very simple. I don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Even I joined your AWS English course also. I am not able to join and I can
Yeah, so
continue.
don't do that. That's so if you are able to do AWS and Azure, I'm more happy for you. Actually, doing this itself is a little hard, but don't go for Kubernetes. Before Kubernetes, better go for DevOps and then Kubernetes. That is better way.
Okay, DevOps you are starting on January 1st week, correct?
Yeah, that is also not suitable for you. After
Okay.
that. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Let's wrap it up here. So we'll meet on Monday and practice very well. And I'm going to send the I need to send, I think we know that I need to send an email after this class. You can create account and send it to me. I'll give the video access. So one suggestion is don't waste Saturday and Sunday. If you decide that yes you want to continue, and you can send the fee and give the access. So just for making a decision, don't waste Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, that's my advice. Thank you. See you on Monday, and we'll continue from Monday. Thank you, folks. Have a good weekend.